everyone, it's Sandra, and this is my worm bin I call Peekaboo. Normally I add a lot of natural bedding, but for the last few weeks I've been adding shredded cardboard. I'm worried that it might be a little too much.
But, you know, because there is quite a number of worms in this, and because this is the bin that I was worried that I was building up too much carbon in it, you can still see a lot of this dry shredded cardboard. Here I'll bring up a big clump from this corner. So there's dry shredded cardboard on the top of this bin and even shredded cardboard throughout. Still worms, even in the drier bits, which always amazed me that worms are in the dry carbony corners. Don't know what they're looking for. Nope, they're dropping cocoons though, which is nice. So anyway, I think this bin has too much carbon. I am feeling castings on the bottom here. See the castings are more on the bottom, but there's a lot of carbon in this bin. So I'm going to give them a feeding, not going to give them any more carbon. I'm going to let them munch through some of this dried shredded stuff that was on the top. You don't need to put the carbon in the feeding area. The idea is that if you do that, the microbes that are going to develop on rotting food will help inoculate the cardboard, which cardboard by itself does not have, or paper towels like this, do not have any inherent live action on them. They need something rotting on them to inoculate them. So, you know, by putting them in the feeding zone, you're sort of killing two birds with one stone. You're creating lots of interest for the worms in the food, and the cardboard that comes along for the ride is going to get inoculated with those same microbes. So any of this cardboard that is saturated with the bin juices, if you like, that's inoculated. There's bacteria, fungus, whatever on that, and that's just fine. The worms will eventually get around to eating it, but you can see how dry this bin is as well, which I think is another consequence of having a little bit carbon heavy in the bin. Dries out a little bit more. It's a piece of old newspaper. By feeding the bin without giving it any extra carbon, you know, I'm going to try to inoculate again the carbon, try to you know, get the worms interested in chowing down on this extra carbon. So by doing that, I'm going to create a trench. If I see any dry carbon sitting on the surface, I'm just going to throw it right in the trench. Any obvious dry bits of carbon. All right, so that's Peekaboo. Carbon-ish in the bottom. So now the food. The food is just my regular food scraps with banana peels and tea leaves and carrot peels and oh, and that's a piece of cucumber. They'll like that. So I'll just put a lump of the food there and get this bin out of the way. So here's the feeding. A bit of cucumber is nice moisture for this bin. So this will inoculate, you know, the scraps of cardboard that are in the area, but quite honestly, microbes will move throughout the bin. Not that they crawl, but worms crawl, and they are carrying the microbes with them. There's one of our cocoons again. They're starting to stand out a little bit more. Hard to see them sometimes in the cardboard. So Peekaboo has a nice feeding for this week, and hopefully those worms will start eating the excess carbon and get down to producing more castings. Bye for now.